They thought he was just an old man, someone easy to brush aside, someone whose voice wouldn't carry past the edge of a parking lot. They saw gray hair, dark skin, and a cane, and thought, he won't fight back. But let me tell you, sometimes quiet strength is the most powerful force in the world. And when Elijah Thomas made one simple phone call outside the Redwood Cafe that summer evening, he wasn't just standing up for himself. He was about to change everything for this town. The sun hung low, painting the sky in gold and fire, the kind of light that made even an old Ford sedan look like it belonged in a movie. Elijah stepped out, moving slow, cane tapping with each step, clothes crisp and pressed, hat tilted just so. To anyone paying attention, there was something unbreakable in the way he carried himself, a dignity no years or insults could erode. Across the parking lot, a group of bikers lounged by their motorcycles, leather and laughter echoing off the asphalt. Their leader, Cole Jensen, had that look, the kind of man who enjoys being king of the hill, even if the hill is just a strip of gravel behind a diner. "Hey Pops, you lose your shuffleboard game?" Cole called out, his friends cracking up like it was the funniest thing in the world. You know that feeling when a room, or in this case a parking lot, just goes heavy? That's what happened. Elijah paused, cane planted, and looked right at Cole. "Just here for a cup of coffee," he said, voice smooth as jazz, not a quiver, not a hint of fear. Cole smirked, swaggered closer, the others fanning out behind him, all leather and bravado. "Looks like you might not make it to the door, old man." For a second, the only sound was the distant sizzle of fries from the kitchen, and inside, folks pretended not to notice, but they were watching. Elijah's eyes never left Cole's. He wasn't trying to win a fight. He was just standing tall, the way he'd probably done all his life. "I'll be just fine," he replied, his voice gentle but so firm it somehow made Cole hesitate. The tension grew. Another biker, wiry with tattoos, piped up, "Ain't you got somewhere else to be?" Elijah didn't move. "Right here suits me." Just 5 words, but it was like dropping a stone in a still pond. You could feel the ripples. Now, you might think a cane and a flip phone aren't much protection. But when Cole snorted, "You going to call for backup with that cane?" Elijah calmly reached into his coat, pulled out a battered old phone, pressed one button, and simply said, "It's time." He closed it, put it away. That's all. No threats, no drama, just quiet certainty. The bikers tried to laugh it off, but something shifted. Cole doubled down, stepping closer, boots crunching the gravel. "Think a phone call's gonna scare us?" But as the seconds ticked by, that confidence started to leak out of the group. In the distance, a low rumble rose, not like their scattered engines, but a steady, unified roar. The bikers glanced nervously at the road as a convoy of motorcycles swept around the corner, engines in perfect rhythm, moving as one. At the front was a woman in a worn leather jacket, tree and chain patch on her shoulder, helmet glinting. She dismounted with quiet authority, eyes sweeping over the scene. Her name was Ruth Callahan, Redwood to her friends, and behind her, the Guardians lined up, forming a silent, unbreakable perimeter around Elijah. Friends who know respect isn't given, it's earned, Elijah said softly, a hint of a smile breaking his calm. The biker's tough talk fizzled. Cole's hands clenched, looking for a way out, but there wasn't one. Ruth stepped forward, voice steady as a verdict. "You okay, Mr. Thomas?" He nodded. "I'm just fine, thanks to you." Cole tried one last bluff. "This is just a misunderstanding. We were just messing around." But Ruth's eyes narrowed. "Is that what you call it? Intimidating a man because you think you can? Maybe it's time you find somewhere else to be." The Guardians didn't raise their voices. They didn't have to. Their unity spoke louder than any threat. One of Cole's men whispered, "This ain't worth it, Cole." Finally, after a silence so thick you could feel it in your bones, Cole spat, "We're done here." They slunk off, boots scraping, their confidence stripped away by nothing but a show of solidarity. The Guardians stayed until the last bike was gone, engines idling, the sun dipping behind the hills, and just like that, A story that could have ended in fear or violence became something else. An echo, a ripple, a reminder that courage doesn't always look like a fight. Sometimes it looks like standing your ground, making a call, trusting that good people will answer. But here's the real twist. The power of that moment didn't end in the parking lot. Word spread through town about the old man who stood tall, about the bikers who blinked first, about a community learning what it means to look out for each other. Elijah wasn't looking for praise. He started showing up at town meetings, speaking in that same calm way, not angry, not vengeful, just sharing what happened, talking about respect and dignity, about making sure no one ever feels alone when facing down a bully. With Ruth and the Guardians, Elijah helped launch the Stand Strong Coalition. They didn't turn into vigilantes. They ran workshops on rights, self-defense, bystander support. They taught folks how to be allies, not just bystanders. You'd see neighbors nodding to each other now, people willing to cross the street, to stand up instead of looking away. The Guardians became a symbol, not of force, but of unity. Kids waved when they rode by. Parents felt safer. And the bikers? Well, let's just say they kept their distance. Ruth dropped off flyers. Jenny from the cafe volunteered. People who once watched from behind glass started showing up and speaking up. Sometimes, Elijah would sit on his porch with a cup of tea, Ruth beside him, talking about the future. Legacy isn't something you plan, he'd say. It's what's left when you keep doing what's right. You could feel it, even in the smallest moments. Teens hanging out without causing trouble, neighbors sharing a smile. The fear that once lived in the shadows replaced by a quiet courage. In the end, Elijah's story isn't about an old man and a group of bikers. It's about the ripple effect of one act of dignity, one phone call, one moment of standing your ground. The Guardians didn't win the day by fighting. They won by showing up, together, making it clear that justice belongs to everyone, and nobody gets to decide who matters and who doesn't. So let me ask you, when you see injustice, what do? Do you turn away, or do you take that first step, even if your voice shakes or your hands tremble on a cane? Because unity starts with one person willing to say, "This isn't right," and another willing to stand beside them. That's how communities change. That's how justice happens, not just in the big moments, but in the quiet, everyday choices we make. If this story moved you, challenged you, or made you think, share your own story below. Tell us where you stand on the lines between courage, justice, and community. Subscribe if you want more stories like this, because in a world that can feel divided, we need reminders that strength comes not from shouting, but from standing together. And sometimes, that's all it takes to turn a single afternoon into the beginning of real change.